many of those. As you guys can see from the title, today I am doing my next update of Pan That Face palette. As you guys know, I am panning two palettes this year, and I'm continuing to do that. I do have some changes this month. It is the end of the year, you guys, at least the last quarter of the year, and I'm starting to feel it, and I need to chill. And I'll explain everything to you guys as I get into the update. But first, if you're new, Alejandra, I go by Alex, eyeshadow enthusiast with a dash project pan. If that is something you want to continue to see on your feed, subscribe and join us. And now let's get on with this update. Okay, you guys, if you've been following me, if you don't, here's a little quick update. I have the Makeup Geek Z palette of blushes, and then I have my Nars Guy Bourdain palette that I am panning, and this is my main palette that I am panning for the rest of the year. So let's start off with this one first, because this is my companion palette. This is the Makeup Geek single blushes in here. These are beautiful. They still work the same. They still look beautiful. Pigmentation is still there. There's absolutely nothing wrong with them. All the colors are gorgeous. I really enjoyed it. I love the mixture of mattes and of the shimmers in here. I'm so happy that I still have these in my collection, because I can see myself in the future reaching for these more and trying to get more use out of these. So I am gonna just go ahead and put this back into my collection. I did what I was supposed to do with them, is to play around with them a little bit more, remind myself. And I am reminding myself more and more of my single blushes in my Z palettes, but it is time to put this back. Now, you guys, let's move on to this palette. So this is the Guy Bourdain palette. And as I thought about this, and the more I use this palette, I'm reminded of this palette and the significance of these. This was my very first high-end, luxury, non-drugstore face palette with blushes in it that I have ever purchased. And I remember going back and forth wanting to get this. And I remember, what would Lizzie do? She was the one that encouraged me. Like, she did the video on it, and I was like, you know what? She really likes it. I think I'm going to give it a shot. And I've loved it ever since, you guys. This is my oldest face palette. This was my first and oldest face palette I own. Yeah, looking at all of my face palette, this is my oldest one. And I'm so happy that it's still working fine, that I'm getting use out of it, that I'm still loving it till this day, that it's still relevant till this day. This is not a palette that was a trendy palette. This is a palette that stands the test of time as far as the shades, the formula, and the quality of it. This is why I don't mind having many Nars face palettes, because I feel like they are worth the money and they will last you, compared to other ones that I have tried and have owned in the past. Now, you guys know I've been using this daily. Let me just wipe some of that off. And this is what it's looking like now. You guys, it's still looking exactly what I showed you guys from day one. There is no visible change to this. As you guys know, these are going to take me a long time. Like, I see a very slight movement as far as on the edges of these two blushes, where I see it going down a little bit. Like, I see a very tiny, like less than a millimeter deep or dip in them. There isn't much in them, but I have been using them. This palette started out weighing 190 pounds. Oh my goodness. This palette started weighing 190 grams when I first rolled it in. Last month, it was 189.68. This month, it is 189.08. So I've only used 0.60, I guess, grams of product. It's not a lot, but it's because I was splitting between these two, and I also had a blush in another project pan that I had 10 uses for. So I didn't fully 100% just use this one. I have been loving it, and today is the last day that I am going to be wearing these two right here, which is Miss Stanguette, I think is how you say it, and then this one's Deep Throat. Though today's the last day I will be using those two, because now that it is officially fall, and the fall weather is here. I feel it. It is already cold. As soon as I walked into this room to film, I felt the coolness in this room, and I'm like, yep, this is probably going to be one of the last days I get to wear a shirt like this. I'm going to have to wear long sleeves because I will be cold in here. So I'm going to go ahead and start out using these two. Now, these two will be my focus blushes for the rest of the year, for the fall going into winter season, until I am done with this series this year. Next year, obviously, I'm going to roll something else in, but that doesn't mean I'm going to stop forgetting or not using this one. I'm also happy that a lot of you guys had left comments stating that you are so grateful that I reminded you how good this palette is, and that you have had it, you have dips in them, you have pan in them, and you brought it back out to use it, because it is such a good palette. It really is a good palette. The colors, you get a nice variety for different tones of skin, undertones, everything you can think of, and it's just beautiful. The highlight, the bronzer, it's just a well thought out palette, and I really do appreciate this palette a lot. It just makes me like this palette more, and it makes me feel like, even though I may not use it till the last powder ounce of it, because I don't know what the future may hold with this palette, but I feel like I've already gotten my money's worth, because it's lasted this long and it's still working great. I have it on my face today and it looks beautiful in person as well as on camera. I just love it. I really, really do love it. So I'm going to continue to use this. We'll see how it goes. Now I'm going to be switching to, this one is Laguna and this one is Gulu. Gulu, I think is how you say it. So these two are the two that I'm going to be concentrating on moving forward. And we're going to see if those are a different formula, if I can get a bigger dip than the middle two. I don't know. If I feel brighter, I'll use the other ones, but if not, I'm just going to stick to those two. Now, as far as the companion palette goes, this is the thing, you guys. And I should have known this. As I get later on in the year, I just get the sense of feeling like, all right, I've done 8 months, at this point now 9 months worth of project panning in multiple different project pans. I've dedicated my time and energy to a lot of products, and the ending of the year, I just try to take it easy. I don't try to overdo it. Unless a product I know will get some sort of damage to it, like as far as pan or usage, or it looks more used, then I'll concentrate on it more. But something like this, I know there's no way I will hit pan on any of these. There's no way I'm going to finish any of these, but I still love it and I'm not tired of using it. So I'm going to continue to use it, but I'm not forcing myself to throw in another companion palette. So this is going to be the last companion palette I'm going to have. Going forward, this is going to be my only and my sole focus of the rest of the year, my only palette that I'm going to focus on, because I just want to see how much use I can do on it. I've only used 0.60 grams of product this past month. So I want to see if I can use more, if I concentrate it more, if I use it the 20 times a month that I do my makeup. I love it. It'll go with every look that I do. There's no problem with that. And I know I don't want to neglect my single blushes, but I feel like I'm just doing it because I need to rotate and I just need to take a break. I really, really do need to take a break. I realized that, like today, I just used the eyeshadows that I wanted to use, and I just am using what I want to use. I am giving myself grace for the rest of the year. I'm still going to concentrate on my Project Pan products, but I'm not just going to solely do that and not reach for the things that I genuinely want to reach for. I want to mix my products together. So I want to mix my blushes. I want to reach for some of my single blushes. I have been concentrating so much on face palettes this year. I'm so proud of that because I finished 2 this year, but I want to reach for some of my single blushes in between using this or on the weekends or whatever the case may be. And if I roll in another companion palette, it just takes up more of my time and I neglect more of my single blushes. Now next year, it's not the blush year for palettes, so I will be concentrating more on blushes. But I just want to take it easy the rest of the year, you guys. That's what it comes down to. I want to take it easy. I want to relax. I want to enjoy the Project Pan items that I am panning without forcing it either. And this hasn't been a chore, and I don't want it to end up being a chore. I'm learning to listen to myself, and so because I don't want to fall down that rabbit hole where I'm tired of project panning and then I see all these holiday releases and I want to try something new instead of actually using what I have as a new thing and then buying something new and then be like, oh, I just accumulated so much more product. I don't want to end up down that rabbit hole because that has happened in the past. So I'm giving myself leeway and just doing me, Still concentrating on this palette, but if I want to roll something else in, use it that day, mix it in with these blushes, I can do that without feeling guilty that I'm not showing more progress to you guys. And it's just more genuine in that way. So not that I'm saying that what I've been doing the whole year hasn't been genuine. It's just I'm being honest with you guys. I'm being honest and I'm learning my limits. I'm learning my limits and when to say, all right, enough. Do you and just do your thing. So that's what's going to happen the rest of the year. I am going to concentrate on this palette and solely on this palette. So you're only going to see an update on this palette. 2 face palettes are gone out of my life. So guess what? I think I've earned it and deserve it. So we're going to be loving on this one. We're going to be using this one solely. I'm not going to concentrate on anything else in this project pan. It'll just be this. We'll weigh it. We'll look at it. We'll analyze it. I'm sure some of you guys have given me motivation because you have told me you have dips and pans and usage and things on this specific palette. So eventually I'll be there, but I want it to look more loved. I want to love it. I want to use it. So that's where we stand with the project pan as of today. So going forward in the next 2 months, I think I'm going to end this the first week of December-ish. I'm going to hold off on my November update and just do the finale in the beginning of December. So then that way I could take the rest of December off and just do me. Do me and enjoy some of the new goodies or rotations of my new goodies that I have in my collection. Like new to me, but they're still in my, you know, I'm shopping my stash kind of thing. So anyway, all right, you guys, at this point I am blabbing. So I am going to leave you. If you guys have any suggestions, comments, concerns, whatever the case would be, leave them down in the comment section. I'll be more than happy to explain to you guys my thought processes, why I'm doing what I'm doing. That is it. More videos on the screen for your enjoyment. Until then, adios.